Welcome to the double-digit edition of Between the Lines, fueled by Gatorade. I'm Gabe Henderson. That's Ben Leber. The Vikings win the AFC East this year, beating all four teams. But jokingly, Ben, we almost won the NFC North today, but the Detroit Lions won, so we have to wait another week. The Minnesota Vikings went 27-22 over the New York Jets today. And in my opinion, Ben, it was a tale of two halves. The first half, the Minnesota Vikings up 20-6 at the break, and then the second half, third quarter rolls continue for this Minnesota Vikings team. Eighth time this year we haven't scored a touchdown in the third quarter. Your thoughts on just the two tells of the game today?
I don't know what really to tell you. It's been the same MO as the season's gone along. We only had 10 yards total offense in the third quarter. We've talked about it again. We got to come out of the second half the way that we enter the game. We're excellent on the opening drive in the first quarter. And then the defense, I have to just think that the defense is making more adjustments than us offensively. Yeah. But here's the deal. We always find a way to figure it out and to fix it. So after only 10 yards on 3 drives in the third quarter, we come out, go 75 yards. We threw the ball down the field. Excellent. We drive the ball into the end zone after 7 plays, and we're like, how? What?
Yeah. What are we doing? What are we doing?
How do we go from like nothing to like an impressive drive? And it was a drive that we needed to do it. I mean, that's the thing with this team is when we need to make a play late in the game, we're making the plays.
Can we live on that though, with all these interceptions but giving up all these yards? Can you live and die by that if you're this Minnesota Vikings defense?
Look, I think we came into this game with the 31st ranked defense in total defense, and I'm not an almanac, I'm not an encyclopedia of Super Bowl knowledge, but
could have lied to me.
I don't think that there's been a team that's won the Super Bowl if you're ranked the 31st or the 32nd ranked defense. So if we're talking championship, which why wouldn't we talk championship here? That has to get better. I understand that we're taking the ball away. We're being opportunistic. We're doing a good job, I would say, as of late, kind of disguising some coverages. We did a little bit of that in the first half, not so much in the second half. But we are being opportunistic, but I'm not so sure that the total yardage, allowing teams to drive down the field and convert first down after first down is a recipe for success if you're talking championships.
But what does that say about our defense, right? Over almost 500 yards for this New York Jets team, getting it down to the red zone almost every single drive, but we're holding them to field goals. What does that say about this bend but don't break defense?
Well, again, I mean, you can't be like super proud of it. Like, look at all the yards we gave up. But again, they get down in the red zone. They were one of 6.
Right.
Our defense held them to 1 of 6 in the red zone. I would absolutely trade field goals for touchdowns any day, as long as their offense can go out there and they can put the ball in the end zone. And I think that's the catch. We need this. The way this defense is playing, we need our offense to score touchdowns, not field goals. And that's a tall task. I mean, as you get into the playoffs, every defense is going to be good. Every team is going to be good. So to always rely on the offense scoring touchdowns, I think, is a little concerning.
I want to talk about Kirk Cousins. Phenomenal first half. That third quarter, he had -12 passing yards. What were your thoughts just on his performance today?
I tell you what, it was a gutty performance because he took a lot of shots.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, we knew that this was going to be a really formidable front four. They don't blitz a lot. They did a really good job blitzing on second down. They kind of guessed right a lot of times blitzing on second down. But it seemed like every pass play, Kirk was just getting hit. He was peeling himself off the turf. So I think it was a gutty performance. It wasn't his best. He clearly looked a little inaccurate. There's a couple throws he threw behind. Timing was off. I would just chalk it up to saying it just wasn't his day. Whether he was feeling that pressure early on, I think their secondary has a lot to do with it as well. They closed off a lot of windows. Every throw had to be super tight and perfect, and he just wasn't there.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that, but also understanding how our offense continues to evolve. After that Dallas Cowboys game, it looked like we wanted to do a lot of play action, a lot of long routes down the field. Fast forward to the New England Patriots game. Bunch of quick routes. Routes. This week, we saw quick routes. We saw, play action passing. We saw running. How do you feel this offense is evolving over time?
Much more balance. We're seeing a commitment to the run game. We talk about that Patriots game. Look, Dalvin didn't blow the doors off with yards, but they were crucial in telling the defense, we're not going to shy away. You're not going to make us one-dimensional. We're still going to run the football, and we're going to try to set some things up. And they did that. And Coach O'Connell even talked about the importance of setting up some of those pass plays on play action using Dalvin Cook, even though he wasn't breaking long runs. So I think the same thing is true today. They really thought they could attack the perimeter of this defense, and they did that. Again, not super successful in the second half, but almost 100, just shy of 100 yards rushing in the first half. So they were doing enough to keep them on their heels, and I think it all paid dividends in the fourth quarter.
Understanding that this Vikings team continues to find ways to win. What does that say about this team going forward now that we are in December football, which is the best? Like, you want to be playing your best time of football this time of the year if you want to actually make some noise in the playoffs and hopefully get to the ultimate goal.
They're believers. To me, they're believing in the system. They're believing in even what Ed Donatell's doing defensively of like, okay, we may be giving up some yards here and there, but let's not panic.
Yeah.
We're not going to panic. We've got a couple high-end safeties. We got some guys that can get after the passer. We get guys like Patrick Jones stepping up. We had a lot of role players played a big time roles in plays in this game, both offense and defense. I just think defensively, they believe that they're going to make the play. And when it's crunch time, whether it's in Buffalo or coming down to this final drive, they know they can look around and say, one of us is going to make a play. We don't know who it's going to be, but one of us will make a play.
Well, we've had 9 wins by a score or less, which is the most in franchise history. And you move forward to this Detroit Lions game at Ford Field next week, and so many implications, NFC North implications. I want to put on a big hat next week.
One of those big hats,
says NFC North champions, but understanding that playing a Detroit Lions team that have won 4 out of their last 5 games, how do we do that? I know we haven't watched film, but we kind of know this Detroit Lions team, being that we're in the same division.
Well, it's going to be tough. I mean, they're trending in the right direction, man. They played Buffalo tough. They had 3 wins right before that. They had an easy game today. Jared Goff was, kind of went off in his game as well. So they're throwing the ball all over the place. They're finding a little bit more balance as well, running the football. And that defense, we always talked about, if that defense just didn't take so many risks, trying to blitz and pressure so much, that they got a lot of talent over there on the defensive side of the ball. So that's a team that's trending in the right direction, but we're going to be highly motivated. Like you said, we win that game, we lock up the NFC North, we punch our ticket to the playoffs. So there's a lot to play for next week. Our guys will be motivated.
We will be motivated, and like I said last week, what it do? This Minnesota Vikings team is 10-2, and that's all for this edition of Between the Lines, fueled by Gatorade.